So the topic today is I'm going to be introducing to you about the Ancient Orgasmic Secrets. So this is a masterclass. It's coming up next week, 8th, 9th and 10th, right? And I want to just let you know, both people who are watching it and watching on the replay, I want to let you know a little bit what this is all about. If you're wondering whether you should join next week, whether you should commit your time to that or not, right? I want to give you all the information that I can. So the first thing I want to ask you to do, please, if you can hear me, okay, can you stick me a 3 in the chat, please, guys? And do feel more than free to give me a like if you're interested. So I just want to hear if you're okay, and of course if you have any questions, please do please do type in the chat. Here I got it. I can see you guys are seeing me, you guys are hearing me. Nice to see old faces and new faces here. So let's get on to this topic, like what are these ancient orgasmic secrets? Because most people, and I'm really curious if you're watching, right, when I say this term, ancient orgasmic secrets, what's coming up in your mind, right? I'd love to hear in the chat, right? What does that conjure up to you, this idea of ancient orgasmic secrets? Are you thinking of, like, you know, ancient porn movies, or maybe you know, ancient dildos, which were a real thing, they did exist, right? You know, but what's conjuring up in your brain right now? Because basically, I mean, what I find, like, when you look at things like you know, the normal social medias like Facebook and Instagram and so on, you know, and there's this whole idea that talking about things like orgasm is like somehow like taboo, you know. And even when you look at the absolute majority of sex coaches, they kind of take our sexuality and split it and divide it off from the rest of our life, and we're taught it's this kind of thing we're supposed to put on the side. We're not supposed to bring it into sort of public, polite conversation and everything. Now, when you look at like ancient cultures, and if you look at the Taoist system of health, you know, sexual energy is just very, very nicely and comfortably situated right in the middle of this whole philosophy. It's certainly not something that ancient people saw as like this taboo or something to giggle about or whatever. And I mean, it's pretty obvious, you know, we are all created by sexual energy. And people think of sexual energy as being, you know, something like, just like something that we're supposed to hide and something that we need to repress. And if we don't repress it enough, we're going to turn into a pervert. And that's the only kind of difference between a normal person and a pervert, is the pervert's not very good at, you know, repressing their sexual energy. Now, in these ancient cultures like Tantra and Taoism, there wasn't kind of any kind of a moral system around sexual energy. And in fact, you see this if you look at traditional cultures, I'm going to say like traditional sort of cultures of, you know, people living in tribes in the jungle, I suppose I'm talking about. You know, when you look at these traditional cultures, they don't have taboos about sex. They don't have sexual harassment. They don't have sexism. And this has been studied by anthropologists, right, as well, and found out that these people, they're walking around naked, but nobody's like raping each other and sexually harassed. In our culture, we are told, you know, that if we don't cover up this and that enough, you know, maybe XYZ is going to happen, and so on, you know, that it's somehow bad to be showing certain amounts of flesh. And, you know, well, in ancient cultures, it was understood that obvious scientific fact is we are made essentially out of orgasms. We're made out of sexual energy, and that this sexual energy does come from right between our legs. Now, what we are taught to do is we're taught to repress it. So from a very, very young age, a program is created within us that teaches us to block the sexual energy. It teaches us to block it around the pubic bone. So that's when we're taught to be ashamed of our sexual energy. That block built first, initially we create it, but then it just becomes self-perpetuating and something that we don't even understand and we don't know how to get rid of. A very common other one is right here, right under the heart, basically like a fear of love. It's very, very common now because children are growing up not getting a normal, healthy amount of affection of their parents. So at a very, very young age, these programs are forming that are taking us away from our original programming and actually disconnecting us from the divine life force energy that created us and that manifests throughout the whole of existence and the whole of the universe. Seriously, yeah, seriously. And this so-called sex positive culture, it's almost laughable, you know, the way that it tells people that sex is about, you know, sexual pleasure or expressing your sexuality is about whether you're gay or you're bi, watching some porn or getting a dildo or having different partners, and all of this stuff is just projecting your sexual energy out, when the real relationship that you can have is from looking in and inside into your sexual energy and forming and creating that relationship. Number one, starting in there and leaving aside all the attractions that are just dragging the energy out of us. I'm curious, guys, does this make sense? Okay, if what I'm saying is making sense, give me a 5 in the chat. If you just think, oh my God, is she off her head, please, a 6. I'm really interested to hear what's coming up here for you in terms of what I just said. And interestingly enough, I mean, this ancient wisdom, like from Taoism, it's actually been handed down from through generation over thousands of years, from master to... No shame if you don't get it, yeah? You know, in fact, if you put a 6 down, I'm going to send you some more information about it. If you put a 5 down, I'll also send you more information. But, you know, yeah, so, you know, and this information that comes from Taoism, right, it's so sought after, right, that actually, you know, Kublai Khan, who's the son of Genghis Khan, that he conquered like all of China, and he basically sent like armies into the Wudang Mountains, which is where the Taoists come from, and he's like, guys, I'm going to destroy all your scrolls if you don't come and teach us guys, you know, your skills and your secrets and so on. So the Taoists went and they started teaching Kublai Khan. Although Kublai Khan, he took Buddhists, he took Muslims, he took Jews, he wanted everyone to work for him. He was a pretty cool example of like multiculturalism. But anyways, you know, like he literally went there into the Wudang Mountains. He wanted that information. And even in the 20th century, right, and Japan invaded China like so many times. I don't even know how many times. Korea invaded China just again and again and again every few decades. It was the last time, right, that they invaded China in the Second World War. And the Emperor of Japan actually sent one of his top generals into the Wudang Mountains again after the Taoist scrolls. Apparently he got one of them. I don't know which one that was, yeah. But this information is still alive and it is still accessible to us today. And what it's about, you know, it can be looked at on so many different levels. It can be looked at as being about self-knowledge, number one, because knowing and understanding this is really, really important. It's the first step and it's key, okay? Number two, it's about learning to master your energy. You know, like most people have zero or very, very little mastery of their energy in any kind of intelligent way, because repressing it is not mastering it. Repressing it is like, you know, it's like you have a car, but you don't even know how to drive it, you know? And then like you're going to press the car, so you're going to like set the car on fire and you're like, oh, okay, well, I don't need to drive it now because I burned it down, you know? And this is what repressing sexual energy and repressing negative emotions do, because negative emotions, I mean, the more I understand them, the more I like absolutely love and respect and honor them, because they have an ability to take us on a journey which allows us to just become better versions of ourselves and progress, you know, infinitely, massively, hugely, if we actually understand how to ride the energy. And the reason for so many problems people are having today is they don't get and they don't understand what negative emotions are all about. Now, I hope that if you're watching this, I really hope that you've signed up to go next week on the 8th, right? 3-day challenge. Don't worry, if you're not available all times, there's replays that's going to be sent out like every day. You know, obviously it's more fun to attend live, but I totally understand like how busy life gets. But I'm just curious right now, okay, does anybody have any question about what I'm going to be going over? Because I'm just going to make a summary, but please stick any questions in the chat, okay? So basically what I'm going to cover is, first of all, we're going to look like on day one, how does the energy system work, okay? And on that first day, I'm going to give you like your first tip of how to hack the energy field, okay? On day two, we're going to start looking at energy blocks. Yeah, what do the energy blocks do, and how can we actually start systematically going through energy blocks and get them out of the body? So, you know, if you're asking what's an energy block, it can be what causes addiction, what causes mental health problems, what causes like so many different problems we have in our life will have at the center an energy block. Because in day one, I'm going to explain to you like how the body is like a perfect alchemical chamber, and when the energy is unblocked and it's flowing, everything is working like really perfectly, you know, and really well for us. So yeah, day two, we're going to look at the energy blocks, right, that stop us from connecting into our orgasmic energy. Now, what is orgasmic energy? Because many people think a man ejaculating is orgasmic energy. A man ejaculating is losing orgasmic energy. The idea is, in the state we want to get into, is to the place where we can actually draw that sexual energy up the body and start having full body and multiple orgasms, which feels really, really amazing. But the benefits go way beyond the bedroom. You know, it goes into our confidence, the way we show up in the world, our creativity. It has like really amazing ability to like help us just overcome addiction, so addictions just disappear. Health problems as well, like it's got, I mean, I honestly think it's like almost like the best medicine, which I've experienced myself, like being cured of chronic health problems, and you know, also addictions through the use of this energy. It's like in Taoism we refer to it as like a superfood for the soul, or I could say like a superfood for body and soul, because it's so utilizable for just about anything, you know. Sorry, I'm just down here checking on my other phone to see if anybody's put any, oh, this is so annoying, to see if anybody's put any comment, any questions. Yeah, there's no questions. Is this all really clear? Have you guys signed up for the challenge? Can you give me an 8 in the chat if you signed up for the challenge next week? So I got 100 seats available. I've basically, my assistant told me there's over 70 have already been gone, and normally most people sign up on the day before actually. So if you haven't signed up, I definitely recommend. I'm gonna stick the link here in the comments so that you can, but it's also pinned into the top of the group, like the link about where to sign up. And like I do these challenges like every month or so, and each month I'm like covering a different topic. So last time I was looking at trauma and fear in the kidneys, and how trauma and fear like get in the way of our erotic aliveness. The 2 ones I did before was all talking about how to like transform this energy to create like a business and to manifest. And by the way, I did say, guys, that I'm giving away some guest tickets to an event I've got on Sunday. Like this is like a really powerful event about manifesting with sexual energy. When I've done these classes before, one guy actually manifested 10 grand during the class. Another guy, he was jobless. Sorry, not homeless. He had a home, but he had no job. And he literally manifested like a job that was like way more money than he'd ever had in his life. 60,000 a year, yeah, plus he asked them, which he'd never done before, for extra. They gave him 63,000. Within like 2 months they'd boosted that up to 70,000 a year with him using these practices that I teach. And I'm even going to be teaching like a more evolved version on Sunday, but I want to give it to people who are already manifesting in their lives and have the right mindset for it. So if you think that that is you, yeah, and you want to come to the class, do just drop me a DM. I'm going to just ask you a couple questions about what's actually going on right now with you in terms of manifestation to see if the class is the right thing for you. But I've got 4 spaces still left. So so yeah, if you're interested in orgasmic manifestation and abundance, let me know on DM. So I'm just checking, will there be a replay for Sunday? No, you're signed up for next week. Sunday, I'm not there's going to be a replay, but it's only really going to go out to people who are already my clients. So yeah, I mean, if you can make it on Sunday, you can make it. Like, this is a session that's mostly for people who are already working for me, working with me rather. Okay, the reason being that when we're trying to manifest things, if we have like a lot of different blockages in our body that are kind of stopping us from even like getting into the first step of just having like the oomph, yeah, to get into the process, to take the right measured risks that are going to get us the results that we want, there's not much point, you know, in giving, yeah, in inviting people basically. So it's just a special thing that I'm just going to choose for just a couple of people who are you know, like already on a path of manifestation. So maybe like you have your own business or something like that. It's going to work really well for you in that case. So, okay. All right then, Angie. Let's connect soon then. See you later. Bye.